I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe. It's Tuesday.
Probably not the day of the week you wanted. How many of us woke up and gone, wow, it's Tuesday. This is good. This is going to suck.
Dude, have you heard about this crazy story coming out of Elbert County this morning?
Tell me.
2 middle school girls have gone missing.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they were coming up from Colorado Springs
Okay.
to play basketball.
Okay, so they were on the team?
Yes.
What?
Here's the Elbert School District's post from an hour ago. This happened last night.
Okay.
And they can't find them.
This is scary.
This is wild. They write, the Elbert School District writes, we thank the Elbert community for their prayers and assistance in the search efforts throughout the night. As of this morning, the girls remain missing. Please see below a message from our friends in the Colorado Springs School District. They wrote, we're writing to inform you of a serious situation that occurred last night during an away middle school basketball game in Elbert. 2 of our students left the Elbert campus before the game began, and their whereabouts remain unknown at this time. Local law enforcement and search and rescue teams are actively searching the Elbert area. School is fully cooperating with all authorities involved in the search effort on site. They're in close communication with the families of the missing students and will continue to provide support during this time. Here's what they know. The students were last seen at the Elbert school campus following last night's basketball game. Law enforcement was notified immediately at 5 p.m. Search efforts have been ongoing since last night. Will continue again at dawn this morning. They wrote, we're working closely with local authorities and following all recommended protocols. And then they write, counseling response team is available to provide help for any students there. Continue to update you on any new information from law enforcement.
Wow. So it looks like the girls went missing after the game from what I'm reading there. And I still am unclear. And again, I don't know if it's clear in the statement there or not as to whether or not they were members of the team or just fans or traveling. And
I think they were members of the team.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of trying to figure out because one, and this is why, is as a parent, Jeff and I both parents of kids, wondering if they weren't part of the team, how they traveled there and who they traveled with, because that's obviously one avenue of investigation. But more importantly, why aren't you watching my kids? The other one, if they're part of the team, then that I can see how 2 people might slip away or get lost in the chaos of trying to get on the bus and everything afterwards. But the bigger and larger question I would have is during that post-game time, the why that you're at an away game. I can see going and maybe, acting a fool at a home game because it's closer to home. You would know the lay of the land. And I'm just saying, let's say it's like, hey, let's go get a little drunk or to do this and smoke this before we get on the bus and go back home, whatever the possibility would be. And I'm looking at something nefarious. That's much more likely when you're closer to home than when you are away. But away does get you outside of the watchful eyes of the parents. So that's kind of the question I've got. And also, just where would they go? And it's Elbert County. It's not like they were going down to GW.
You can watch a dog run away for 2 weeks out there.
Exactly. That's the thing that I can't figure out is, the disappearance. If we're going down to, G-Dub and we're in, inner city Denver, we're going down to East, that area, Lincoln, even then Kennedy, you've got a lot more opportunities to go out and go somewhere and do things. Not so much in the middle of Elbert County. Not so much the idea of, hey, let's go do whatever. Yeah, this is a little spooky.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have pictures of the 2 girls I'm going to post on x.com/Jeff Hunt. Keep an eye out for them. And, do your best to try to help out here. This is crazy. All right, goodness. Now it's time, though, for the news.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good Tuesday morning. 43 and cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 65 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, definitely check out Jeff's X account so we can try to find these girls in Elbert County. Just an amazing story. Governor Polis And local leaders are taking action against a new mountain pine beetle outbreak threatening ponderosa pines across Colorado's western Front Range, pointing to an anticipated map spread Monday. Polis said the tiny beetles are killing thousands of trees.
It largely will grow in the red areas over 26, 27, 28 to essentially encompass nearly all of the wild areas on the western Front Range.
Polis signed an executive order on Monday creating a task force to fight the infestation, which includes using natural predators like wasps, say that 3 times, and beetles, plus
We're going to end
pheromone.
up with that all throughout the mountains. Yay!
Yes.
That's great. You're going to take the kids hiking and do
Get
wasps
those
everywhere.
chemicals. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Chemicals and wasps. Speaking of trying to avoid wildfires, Be Prepared XL may shut it down tomorrow. They're considering a power shutdown for a large swath of the Front Range because strong winds are in the forecast tomorrow and could start the fires. XL's Andrew Holder.
It is a challenge to ensure that we are in alignment not only with our National Weather Service, but also our local meteorologists, ensuring that we're partnering with them to get real-time data.
I expect Excel says it's sent a warning notification to customers living inside the areas where it is possible power could be turned off, saying a shut-off is likely from noon to 6 o'clock tomorrow night. The utility says this option is, once again, to protect people from wildfires. The
And the
manhunt...
Excel bank account.
And
You don't want to pay any more multi-million-dollar settlements.
That's
this is protecting our big giant
Boy,
bank
you got
account
that
as
right.
well. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry for interrupting. It's yours again.
No, hey, you're not interrupting. When it comes to attorneys and lawyers, it doesn't matter, Billy. You know that. The manhunt for the terrorists in Saturday's deadly mass shooting at Brown University is intensifying. NBC's Aaron McLaughlin reports a search of the Rhode Island campus resumed Monday after a person of interest in the case was released.
FBI agents searched through the trash, sifted through the snow, and canvassed neighborhoods around the university, looking for any new video or evidence that could lead to the arrest of the man who opened fire Saturday, killing 2 students and wounding 9.
Videos released show a man in dark clothing walking down the streets near the university. The FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. They say he's armed and dangerous, of course. And the police chief will not say what the murderer screamed before he entered that classroom and started shooting. Gad says it best about Islam here. Following the terrorist attack in Australia, he's the author of Suicidal Empathy. He's been saying it for years. Here he is on Jesse Waters last night.
Right? There is no Islamism. There is no radical, violent, extremist militantism, right? You don't just add a bunch of isms and a bunch of qualifiers so that you can hallucinate about it being different from Islam. Islam is a codified set of ideas. If I choose to ignore much of it, I will be peaceful. If I choose to take it seriously, I won't be peaceful. So it's not radicalization. It's simply whether I adhere to the tenets of the faith or I don't. And so to your point, you could never vet someone because these are people who the father had been there since the 90s. The son was born there. So certainly from any vetting perspective, you would think they're well acclimatized to Western liberties. And it just takes one trigger and off we go.
32-year-old Nick Reiner will have his first court appearance today in L.A. this morning. He's being held without bond in connection with the stabbing murders of his father, Rob Reiner, and wife, Michelle. Wow. I mean, the more you think about that thing, well, it's just horrific. Donald Trump Jr. and socialite Bettina Anderson are engaged to be married. Don Jr. works for the Trump organization alongside his brother Eric. Former comedian Jimmy Kimmel had former First Lady Michelle Obama on his show last night. Of course, they manufactured a standing ovation for her. Her first time that she met Oprah, she wanted to tell that story.
And it was a typical Oprah gesture. Before we were ourselves and just coming up, Oprah, heard about Barack and wanted to feature him in O Magazine. So she came to our home, and showed up with Oprah and a camera crew. And that's when I started thinking, this must be a thing, what he's doing, this politics. And after, because Oprah paid attention.
It's in our house.
So she's in our house, and I'm running around because I've got a job and kids, and I threw on some capris and a sweater, and that's what I had on. I didn't get my makeup done because I didn't really know you needed makeup. I mean, that's where I was.
Wow.
Okay, Oprah gave her a whole bunch of clothes. I don't buy that they were just this little couple living on
just
little house on the prairie. This organic elevation to the top.
Hey,
we were
Ma,
just
Ma, there's somebody here with a camera.
Exactly. Ma, I never seen a camera before. What's this politics thing may be big. Wow. This is so organic, man. If you listen to the whole story, so well written. Oh, my God. What a snoozer, though. But I don't believe that for a second. The organic nature of it. All right. I digress. Monday Night Football last night. The Steelers and the Dolphins, 28-15. The Steelers win. Man, they haven't lost a home game on Monday Night Football since the 90s. Rockets at the Nuggets last night, and this goes to OT.
Here's Sengun firing. Well off the mark. Brown the rebound, and the clock will expire. The Nuggets have won 5 in a row and put a halt to their 4-game home losing streak.
128-125. Jokic 39, 15, and 10. 2 steals, 2 blocks. Avs at Seattle tonight, and it is 39 in Lone Tree, 40 in Littleton, 43 in Denver. You're waking up with Jeff and Billy. Blake Olson on a Tuesday. News Talk 710 KNUS.
Continued unseasonably mild. We're going to be warm, but we're also going to be getting quite breezy. Winds are going to be picking up, especially later today and tonight. Quite windy along the Front Range on Wednesday, as strong jet stream winds and a Pacific cold front will cross the Continental Divide. We'll be mid-60s today and tomorrow, 30s and low 40s tonight. Now for overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning, slight chance of a shower. Colder Wednesday night, a low near 30. Colder Thursday, highs upper 40s. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
I think we talked about this one before. This Christmas, Donny Hathaway. This is a fun one. Didn't really become a hit while Donny was alive, much to his chagrin and many others. Very popular Christmas song. One of the bad things about this, Chris Brown's version is the only one that actually breaks the Billboard chart, which disappoints me on a personal level, like most people don't understand, because he's an awful person.
Yeah,
so the fact
he
that
hit women?
Oh yeah, he's a horrible person. So the fact that of all the cover versions, his is the only one that charts is just, for me, a failure. But the really cool thing in this is it's penned in the late 60s, and I forget the woman's name who's given co-writing credit, but it's a wonderful story about her in Chicago over the holiday season, and she's just writing about what she sees. She's looking out her window, she's walking down the street, she's talking about the crowds, what she sees in the windows, and going shopping for her kids. That's what this is. This is just an embracement of what Christmas is all about. It's really cool. This is a great one. Yeah. And this is the original, too.
Well, things are changing, Mr. Thorpe at Ford. At one point,
Yes,
they were
they are.
all in on electric trucks. We're going to make this a big deal, going to organize around being all electric. Writing down $19.5 billion as it pivots from its electric Lightning line of vehicles going EVs or going for hybrids. I had heard this from the industry. years ago that people within the automotive industry were like, oh, yeah, man, plugging in a car, all electric, sitting there waiting for it. Doesn't seem to really be appealing to people all that much. Now, the hybrids, yes, people like that. A little bit of gas, a little bit of electricity, mix it all together. Ford making the announcement yesterday that it's moving away from its Lightning line entirely and writing down $19.5 billion in losses. Whoa, is this just another Solyndra bill? A pipe dream of green energy that never really could make it in the marketplace without being propped up by the government? Or is this just a market shift? And people are saying we want to stay with cars and that require gas. What are your thoughts on this?
It's a market shift, but it is also somewhat unique in developed countries here in the U.S. because we are not following what everybody else is doing. Global EV sales are up more than 20%. Year over year. So more countries and more consumers elsewhere are buying them for a variety of reasons. But the core of it isn't really green, isn't the reason. It is top to bottom a superior product. It is the EV automobile is 110% superior to the internal combustion engine. And this is coming from a kid who grew up as the son of a shade tree mechanic. The number of times I had to dig lug nuts out of weird places in the engine because they've fallen down there, or I have to grab these bolts, or I have to make sure to hang on to these wires, or I'm the guy that is sitting in the driver's seat and it's like, okay, give it some juice all the time. So I grew up with these. I drive a classic car. I love the internal combustion engine, but I also have to be honest about it. The EV is a superior product.
Well, tell me why and what makes it a superior product, and why isn't it connecting with the marketplace?
It's not connecting here for a number of reasons. One, where's the price point of where the new EVs have been rolling out? If you go for a Genesis or Rivian, the Ford F-150 Lightning started around $80,000. And that, to me, is where they made the problem, is where they were looking at purchasing. The individual that is going out there to buy an $80,000 electric vehicle isn't necessarily concerned about saving gas. That's not going to be part of their motivation in my mind. There are some other advantages you'll get for an EV at that price point, but that's not it. If you're going to be buying an EV at that price point, that's a show-off vehicle. And what I mean by that is it's going to have bells and whistles and things that it does that other cars don't do. There are some other models of cars. BYD makes one that is about at that price point where it will turn 360 degrees in a full circle on its own. You can sit there and it will sit in the parking lot, just go boop, and it'll turn 150, 180, 360 degrees all the way around, sitting exactly where it is. That's kind of cool. You can do things with different colors and different, music on the inside. Those are the show-off features.
Yeah, I would say those are definitely show-off features because if you're a good old boy that's just got his work truck, like the parade of the guys I travel with from Elbert County out to work every morning. And believe me, at like 5 a.m., there's a lot of them. And everybody's heading to work. They're dinged up, beat up, work trucks.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems to me that both Ford and Elon Musk, who I appreciate a lot, I think he's fantastic in so many ways. But with the Cybertruck, clearly weren't going for the good old boys market because, one, price. Right. If you're working with your hands, you don't need a show-off truck.
And you're probably not dropping $80,000 on it. If you want $80,000, you're going to look at, if you're doing $80,000 plus, you need a 350 dually. You need something with a dual axle.
Yeah.
At that heavy, you're looking at heavy duty. You're going lower. If you're going to an F-150, you're looking at $50,000, something like that to make it nice on the inside. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and then you're going to be throwing hay into the back of it. I remember looking at the Cybertruck because that's what we use our truck for.
Yeah.
I've got to go get big bales of hay, feed the horses and the goats and all that stuff. And then it's dirty and it's messy and things break on it. I'm like, whatever. It's a ranch truck. That's what it's supposed to be. So the Cybertruck had no appeal to me.
No.
At all. Plus, I live on a dirt road.
The
So
other
it's
part is-
like,
and look at how
this thing's going to be dirty the whole time.
And look how it tapers towards the back where you put the payload. You can't load from the side. So it's impossible to look over the side and get anything out.
But I feel like Ford did the same thing where you're like, all electric, the hybrid, yeah, that makes sense. Diesel, you need power. You want a work truck that you can beat up a little bit. You're just not going to spend that amount of money. So it seems like, and then it required so much of these incentives, right? I think it was like a $7,000 incentive that came from the government to try to force down the price. And, you know, Republicans got rid of that. So now it's more expensive. You got to retrofit your house to plug it in at night. That doesn't seem fun. And then if you're out and about, you got to sit around for it to charge. So I don't know. Just seems like a loser.
Yeah, the problem they have. See, here's the thing: is if you're talking about the big diesel truck, etc., that Ford EV is going to have better torque, just hands down. It had better torque and better pulling power.
Oh
than
yeah,
any
you saw
F-150.
that on the drag races, right?
Oh, yeah.
Those little hybrids.
Yeah, it has amazing torque, and that's what I mean by it being in part a superior product. Is it delivers better torque on a wider range? That's part of the EV being a better product.
Gabe has some thoughts for you.
Yeah, what?
He's a little frustrated with you. He's like, how in the heck can you say a battery-powered car is better than a combustible engine? You need a dang computer degree to work on those stupid cars when the engine doesn't work. How do you fix it?
The thing is, right now, you still need a computer.
Feels betrayed by you,
here's
Mr.
the thing.
Thorpe.
Here's the thing. You need a computer degree to work on the cars right now. You can no longer be that shade tree mechanic within most parameters. There are some easy little things you can do, but those are things that you wouldn't have to do necessarily inside of an EV. Hey, I can still in my driveway still change my own oil. No oil in an EV. You wouldn't have to do that. So that's kind of the problem. That's the issue. And
there's no oil in an EV?
No.
Really? You don't need oil to run the gears and all this?
Nope, not at all. No, it's not the system. So that's part of the issue is you don't need that. There's no gearbox really. And so that's kind of the issue. You don't need that type of lubricated gearbox. You don't need those things. That's the issue. And I understand the guys out working on the farms and being worried about, this, and what am I out in the middle of the field and I need to charge it? Well, what if you're out in the middle of the field and the little red light goes on the gas tank? There's a solution there that the farmers have figured out based on the liquid fuel. Chances are the same solution could apply for an electric vehicle.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you got to end up back at your house. I don't think there's many charging stations out east. And believe me, I spent last week way out east in like Los Animas. And I remember I came across a sign that said no services for 69 miles.
Yeah.
Something like that,
but again,
70 miles.
That wouldn't help. That would be the same if you were in an EV
No,
or in
you
a
just
gas.
throw
hang on,
throw some gas in the
or in a
back of
gas.
your
But
car.
hang on, or in a gas car. It'd be both, and so you would still have that constraint.
There's no charging stations
based
out
on it.
there. There's
Again,
no charging stations.
The infrastructure is an issue at the part, but part of it is we don't know where we have and don't have charging stations because this is a weird one, but walk with me on this one. They don't have to advertise. And what I mean by that is gas stations are set up fundamentally to be different than charging stations. Gas stations occurred before we had GPS. Gas stations occurred before we had automatic systems in our cars that would tell us where the next restaurant or where the next grocery store or things like that are. So gas stations needed to be visible for 3-4 lengths of a football field away. You've got to have a big giant sign. You've got to be on a roadway. Most of the time, you got to be on a corner is where you ideally want to be because the consumer has to see you. That's not necessarily the case with an EV that has a computer, as Gabe outlines inside the vehicle. The problem is letting people know where those charging stations are. That's why I do have a beef with the Trump administration on cutting back the government program that was going to help with the infrastructure rollout of EV charging stations. I think that would be a benefit, but I understand why the Trump administration doesn't see it as a benefit. That's okay. Different choices. But the idea being, if I own charging stations or I'm on that end, I would be paying Google and the other maps to put charging stations on the map every single time. Because if you search charging stations in my area, if you're in an urban area, you might be surprised at the number of charging stations you just don't know about, because they could be in the back of a parking lot. It could sit behind a building. They don't have to be seen because you can find them with GPS. So it's not the same thing. So when you drive around and say, I don't see any charging stations, it's because they're not trying to market to you. They're not set up like a gas station.
I also don't think they're out anywhere in the eastern
they're
parts
not,
of
they're not the need.
Colorado.
But again, if the structure, if I had a farm and I wanted to go electric, you set up a charging station on your farm. I know farmers that have fuel tanks that get filled regularly on their farm. So it would be the same thing.
8714 texting in. I drive a Ford. I want a V8. I will always want a V8 or a diesel. I personally could see this coming a mile away from Ford. CEO should be fired for this massive failure. Dude drove an F-150 EV from Bakersfield to Vegas, wondering why they didn't sell, and at the end of his trip claimed, I get it. You'd think he would have hopped in and tried the same experience before Ford brought the most popular vehicle sold in the U.S. to market, like Dodge. Dumbest idea ever. Even Dodge is bringing back their ICE after claiming they're going all electric. Americans don't want them. If they do, they'll go buy a Tesla. Anybody else buying these are virtue signaling rich liberals.
That's interesting, because I want to challenge the texture. What does the V8 or that diesel engine do that better than the EV would do? What does it do that is better? Because down to brass tacks, the EV is a better product. It's much better than your internal combustion engine. By far better product.
Don't you end up having to get your batteries replaced? There's a big problem on that, too.
There is a problem with that, but think about other things. You got to get your transmission replaced. There are times in which people have dropped entirely new engines into cars. And I mean transmissions, meaning because I have a child in my house that didn't accurately understand clearance on cars, and may, when they were learning to drive, have driven over, I don't know, a median and ripped the entire transmission out of the car. Yeah, that's a great learning experience. Really super expensive. And so that's a lot of money that you had to drop in. So, yes, that is one of the issues.
Text him back in. I agree on the new cars. They're cramped too, but that's why I have an early 2000 car I work on, but the battery isn't superior to combustible engine. To charge said battery, you need a combustible engine. I love you guys. Going to Nevada. And going to Nevada, I'll see signs that say no services for 100-plus miles. And my old bike got 140 on the tank, so no room for mistakes.
Yeah, not at all. Now, remember, Ford, when they're saying they're discontinuing the Lightning, is going to a $30,000 to $40,000 truck option. One is going to be full EV, and it's also going to be the plug-in hybrid, which is the idea of it is running on an electric motor, but the tiny gas engine powers the battery.
Powers the battery, right.
Now, remember, they're going down in price point. Ford isn't washing their hands of EV. They're going to the $30,000 to $40,000 price point. And when we come back from a break that's coming up, I will walk everyone through the exact reason why the EV, top to bottom, is a better product. But more importantly is the price point where Ford is coming in. Remember, everybody jumped into the EV game when Tesla announced 1 million orders for their $40,000 Cybertruck. When that thing debuted at $80,000 plus, that's when things started falling apart.
Oh, yeah, it's twice the price.
And Ford coming into the market and going, we can do an $80,000 EV too? Well, duh. Tesla wasn't selling their $80,000 EV. You think yours is going to sell? You really think yours is going to sell? It was dumb. This is the automakers following the market.
I want to get your answers to these two questions, Bill, when we come back. One, what about towing? The pulling weight, especially up the mountains, just drains that battery. And then second, what about the slave labor in Africa to get that cobalt? Get your responses to that. All right, well, Bill and I may disagree on a lot. We agree on this one thing. The gun room is absolutely fantastic. If you are looking to be a responsible gun owner and purchase your firearm. These folks are genuine Colorado people. They know firearms, they know safety, and they take time to walk you through what's right for you. So whether you're new to shooting, looking to expand your collection, or want expert guidance from people who actually care, the Gun Room is the place. And ladies, with the holidays coming up, I'm going to make this really easy for you. If you've been wondering what to get your husband, dad, or outdoorsman in your life, a gift card to the Gun Room is a home run. Trust me on this one. Stop in and browse their selection of new and used firearms. I was hanging out with Wayne. They have dueling pistols from the 1700s. And no, Bill and I will not be using them on the show, even though sometimes it feels like it. Duel, 10 paces and turn. Slap each other with a glove. I challenge you to a duel. Give them a call. The Gun Room is awesome because you know what the libs are doing to all the gun shops in Colorado. They're trying to shut them all down. The owners, and I don't blame them, owners heading to Wyoming, Idaho, because there's things like 3-day waiting periods. Like if you're trying to buy a weapon and you got to do a 3-day waiting period and you live out in rural Colorado and it's a 2-hour drive, you get to do that twice in 3 days? Come on. So a lot of firearm dealers heading out, which is unfortunate. The good ones you got to support. And Wayne's fantastic. Man of deep faith. Loves his country. Go support the Gun Room in Lakewood. Check them out. denvergunroom.com. Give them a call, 303-237-1300. And if you need to sell a gun, maybe somebody in your life has moved on to glory, you got a big set of guns you want to sell, they'll give you a fair price. 303-237-1300. denvergunroom.com. denvergunroom.com. Be sure to tell them Jeff sent you. We'll continue with your phone calls. And boy, text messages hot on this one. Call in and debate Billy on this one. Tell him why your coal-laying diesel is better than his, green EV.
Yeah. And again, I don't own an EV, but when we come back, I will tell you exactly why it's a superior product.
You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS. We did this one last week. Little Drummer Boy, different version. This is Bob Seger's version, which is actually unusual. Again, understand, this is Bob Seger, the rocker, doing this one. That's why I think this is kind of underappreciated.
Yeah, I do think that element of Love Actually with a rock star that just does Christmas music because he needs to make money.
Yeah, exactly.
Has a lot of truth to it.
There is a lot of truth to that. Yeah, this is originally a Czech folk song, and it was called Carol of the Drums when it was adapted originally into English. And the Von Trapp family, famous in Sound of Music, the real-life ones used to do a version of Carol of the Drums before it was renamed Little Drummer Boy. I appreciate this one more than most because it is one of the unusual faith-based songs that doesn't focus on the Christ child, doesn't focus on our Lord and Savior. It's about someone else there. And that's kind of cool.
So, Bill, you ever cost your company some money?
On a daily basis here.
Yeah, but you still get to keep your job. How about to the tune of $19.5 billion?
Oof. Yeah, that's
the
a
new
tough one.
Ford CEO writing down $19.5 billion in loss as they pivot from the electric Lightning line of vehicles. We're asking you about these EVs. Would you ever buy one? Are you impressed by them? Bill thinks that they are superior. But here's some of the text messages. 7248 saying, we drive horses all over the country. We can't stop with livestock every few hours to charge. A lot of times they don't even have water in the trailer, so we need to get going where we are as quickly as possible. 8422, a diesel truck is proven, and the electrical vehicles are not. We have no idea what kind of issues some of these electrical vehicles are going to have in the future. Gabe texting in, it took over 100 years to build the infrastructure for oil and gas. It'll take about the same for electric. We're hamstringing ourselves by taking our coal power plants away and praying that renewable energy will power all this stuff.
Well,
all right,
the
Mr.
coal power plants are still going to be needed is to generate the electricity. And again, that's the either-or trade-off that we talked about earlier in the show that I think is a fallacy on the green energy side. I think they do themselves an immense disservice by making it an either-or, not a supplementation. That's a problem.
All right, Mr. Thorpe, give us your argument.
Yeah.
Why the EV
is
superior?
First, before we get into this, I want to address the towing issue. That is an issue based on battery capacity. That has to do with current capacity being around 350 miles. Ford, however, with this new development, when they're talking about the $30,000 to $40,000 truck, is looking at a 700-mile range. Mercedes, I think it's either Honda or Toyota, is also already experimenting with 700-mile ranges on their EVs. And that's important because part of the problem with the towing, especially in the mountains, is you end up halving the battery capacity. But if we're at 700 and we half that, that's at 350. That's the same amount of miles you normally will be able to drive with your truck. Because remember, even in an internal combustion engine, you are using more gas to get up that hill if you're pulling something. So you also lose range. So now the EV is at a comparable range. So I think that's where they have to go. And one of it is batteries, and we got to switch to solid state batteries. And there are a couple of companies that have done some great breakthroughs on those. And solid state's important because then you don't lose your charge capacity in cold or in heat. And that is also needs to be a game changer. All right, now let's walk through why the EV is a superior product. Now, in order to do this, we are going to have a let's pretend. Let's pretend that instead of the internal combustion engine being dominant in the market, instead it is the EV. That instead of when Henry Ford started his assembly line to make those Model A's, instead of an internal combustion engine, it was battery powered. Okay, let's just start there. And this is why it's important. If all of us were driving EVs and some very smart, pointy-headed engineer, probably with a German accent, comes up with an idea that he has a new way to power these automobiles. He's come up with something called the internal combustion engine. And you ask him, as we're all driving EVs, what does it work? How does it work? He goes, well, first, one of the things you have to understand is that we're going to need a large tank of liquid we are going to have to place into that car in order to power this thing. Then we are going to engineer tiny little explosions inside of this engine in order to power this thing going forward. Oh, but these explosions they only deliver torque in a certain range. So in order to manage that, we have to have a complicated gearbox that takes a lot of different moving parts and has to be lubricated. And that also is going to have regular maintenance. Oh, and that drivetrain on an EV, yeah, it's like 6 or 7 pieces. It's about 250 plus on an internal combustion engine. And then everyone sitting in the meeting goes, okay, great. Is it faster? No, not faster. Does it have more towing capacity and more power? No, not at all. And it delivers it on a shorter range cycle. Oh, is it quieter and better? No, it's loud, very loud compared to the EV. Oh, and it farts stuff out the back too at the same time. Oh, and then the German guy says, but you can go to a shop and you can fill it up really quickly. And then you say, but can I fill it up at home? No. So if we all were driving EVs, the singular advantage an internal combustion engine would have is we can leave our homes and go to a gas station in order to fill it up quickly. That's really the base advantage that an internal combustion has as a product over an EV. Now, there are things that we need to work out to make EVs even better than internal combustion engines. But top to bottom, it's a better product. Now, one of the fallacies, I believe, in the companies that are pushing the EVs is that they are missing that home charging idea. The fact that Tesla charges you any money to set up a charging station in your home is freaking stupid. I'm already willing to buy your car. Help me charge it at home. How much quicker do you make that purchasing decision if that company sets up the charging station at your house? And how much more convenient is it for you to never have to stop at a gas station again as long as you're doing commuting around town? You come home at night, you come home in the afternoon, and you charge it up. And I understand the limited charge range of 350 miles, but that's only applicable if you and your internal combustion engine run yourself down to an empty gas tank. If you don't, you find ways to charge as well. Same thing.
Mr. Thorpe, I've got 2 words for you.
Yeah.
Excel Energy.
Nice one.
Enjoy trying to charge that car tomorrow between noon and 6.
Yep, and that'll be part of the problem. That is. But again, that's an infrastructure issue, not necessarily a product issue. And the product is top to bottom. It is flat superior. The EV is a superior automobile than it is the internal combustion engine.
You agree with Bill Thorpe in this? Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. I do not believe they're a superior vehicle. I think this is another example of Ford going woke, now going broke. Welcome to Solyndra 2.0, $19.5 billion written off as a result of your woke fantasies. But prove me wrong. Where are you in all this? You are listening to Denver's Top Talk radio show because we are Denver's right, left, center debate program. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Speaking of Danny C., Dan Caplis suggests you should choose a lawyer who shares your values because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everyone involved in the case. Dan Caplis, the son of a police officer and a former seminarian who's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who've been hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. Dan is also believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win five straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado state history. He is a winner, and he's a man of tremendous morals, values, and character. That's what you get with Dan Caplis. That's why Dan Caplis Law is the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law, a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here's the phone number, 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S Law.com. We'll continue with your phone calls and texts You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS. Carpenter's version of the Perry Como classic. Now this was originally penned, I don't remember the author. I'm not sure if Perry Cuomo wrote this or not, but it drops about a decade after Bing Crosby's I'll Be Home for the Holidays. And Cuomo was tired of listening to Bing's version because it was so sad. He said, why can't we come home and actually reach there and have something happy where everybody's going to be there? And that's why this is written. It was kind of the upbeat version of I'll Be Home for Christmas. He didn't want it to be so sad. So I think it's kind of cute that he kept hearing this thing by Bing, and he's like, dude, we got to do something to cheer the place up. This sucks. So, yeah.
There you go. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Jack Evergreen. Jack, we're talking Ford writing down $19.5 billion as it pivots away from its electric Lightning line of vehicles. What are your thoughts on EVs, Jack?
Yeah.
Well, the battery is too much stored energy, and all it takes is one frayed wire in the electrical system, and if it's parked in your garage, it's attached to your house, it'll burn the whole damn house down. Anybody that would get an electric car needs to have their head examined. I mean, you've been blessed with fossil fuels. Okay, I'm driving the 4th brand new Outback we've bought. I bought 4 of them brand new for my wife before she passed away. Now I'm still buying them. I can go 500 miles on a tank of gas, and I'm not afraid to park the thing in my garage. I mean, it's lunacy. It's absolute lunacy, electric cars. Just forget about them. That's it.
Again, here's the thing, though. If you have a 700-mile range on that car, you've got another car, it'll be an EV. 500. I know, but I'm saying 700 on an EV, you get an extra 200 miles.
Well, that means you got a bigger storage bomb sitting in your garage at night with one frayed wire, and you burn your house down.
Not necessarily.
I mean,
Jack, not necessarily based on the battery technology. And remember, they're also working towards solid-state batteries right now. You move into solid-state batteries, that entire complaint you have evaporates.
No, it doesn't, because you can have an electrical short, and it shorts out. It creates a fire in any vehicle.
Jack, hang on a sec here. Any frayed wire running through the walls of your house could do the same. You don't call up the Jeff and Bill show and say, any of you, hang on, Jack, any of you guys living inside of a house are idiots. You got to go live in a tent where there are no wires and no possibility of an electrical fire.
Do you want? Okay, there's an answer to your question.
Yeah.
The house doesn't vibrate going down dirt roads and washboard roads, and it's where the wires have an opportunity to be vibrated to the extent where they rub against something. The house doesn't do that. Billy, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I do, Jack. Jack, how many times do the wires fray on all the millions of vehicles that we have on the roads right now? What percentage?
Well, we own a fleet of trucks, and our mechanics are constantly rewiring them wherever they've worn through.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a reality. Cars and trucks vibrate. Houses don't.
Okay. But some of those vibrations inside of the car, we don't have electrical fires in cars universally all over the place, and wires do run down. Yes, and that would be part of some of the maintenance that someone would do inside of an EV, but it still would be less maintenance inside of an internal combustion engine. There still would be less maintenance.
And see how many EVs have burned up so far.
Oh, again,
just go and check on that.
Jack, I've never said that the product is perfect now. If you listen to the entire hour, I outlined battery charge capacity being a change that makes it more adoptable and moving to solid-state batteries and better technology. It is not perfect right now. But when the cars rolled off the assembly line with Henry Ford, it wasn't perfect, and it wasn't perfect for decades. We are in the early phases, and we are seeing cars not have those electrical issues like some of the other earlier models did. They're correcting for that, Jack. And assuming that the technology stops and nobody's going to look at the safety measures is silly. You know that.
You're not looking at the physics. A battery is stored energy, okay? A gasoline tank is not stored energy. It's a liquid that has to be turned into a vapor and has to go through a fuel pump and has to be ignited by a spark before you have energy.
How many times, Jack, how many times do your solid-state batteries explode in a car accident? How many times they catch fire?
I don't know, but
because,
they can.
Jack, if they move to solid state as they are trying to based on charge load and capacity, your entire fire argument pretty much evaporates. It's okay. It's okay if you want to get stuck in the time right now as far as where EVs are.
So a solid-state battery doesn't comes out of them?
It doesn't produce the same risk that the current lithium ions do as far as batteries, and you know that. You know that based on how they store and charge and everything else.
The discharge energy is the same just because it's a different style of battery.
But the storage, no, but Jack, the storage is different, and you know that, lithium-ion storage is different than the solid-state batteries, and the solid-state batteries are going to hold the capacity a little bit longer, and they're not as flammable. That's what happens. That's just the issue. Okay.
Jack, appreciate the call.
Yeah, thanks, Jack.
Debate is hot on the Jeff and Bill Show, and we will continue into the next hour. We'll be joined by Luke Neferata, smart approaches to marijuana as President Trump explores descheduling or rescheduling marijuana. What does that mean? You're not going to want to miss it. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader. We are KNUS.